My name is Susan, and I am an Eritrean American as well as Ethiopian by ancestry. And today I wanted to touch on a touchy subject right now, and something very important to me and to a lot of people, which is the connection of Nipsey Hussle to the Bible and to prophecy. Now, the link that I want to make is very important so that we can better understand his death and we can find some closure and clarity in that, as well as be empowered within ourselves. If Nipsey is who he is, then that tells us a great deal of who we are. Now, I know that people have different religions and blah, 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 okay? This is not about pushing the Bible. I study many different religions and spiritualities, and I take what resonates with me. And so the important thing that I want you to understand today is the importance of critical thinking. Take information, but then come to your own conclusions based on the evidence and based on your own experiences and knowledge, okay? That's the intro. Now, let's talk. When Nipsey initially passed away on March 31st, 2019, which was a Sunday, it really vibrated around the world, and it still is, because we are still within 7 days of his death. Now, once it happened, I started just thinking, like, how could this happen? And then, I'm thinking about our Eritrean roots, and it's like, Nipsey meant so much to our country, but then to see what he meant to the world, it was just so mind-boggling that I kept feeling like I needed to research, and I'm like, this is so weird. Was it the government? Was it Eric Holder, like they're saying? And then there was just so many inconsistencies to the story. The picture of Eric Holder in the car doesn't even match Eric Holder when he's in the courtroom 2 days later. How did his hair change? And then we also have to understand the significance of the African American black man and the government and CIA and FBI's attention on them. Why do they have their attention on them? Because we are the chosen. We are the children of Israel. So we are a very blessed people. And a lot of people know that about us, but we may not even know it about ourselves, unfortunately. Now, Nipsey's passing was so monumental to the African American community and African community diaspora, those who live, who are from Africa, we live abroad, we're all very touched by it. Now, Nipsey's roots are biblical also because Nipsey is Eritrean, and Eritrea was once part of Ethiopia. So we are by ancestry Ethiopians. We just have a separate culture, which is very similar in certain aspects to Ethiopians. So Ethiopians and Eritreans, we've been in a long war against each other. But if we technically only relate this to history and ancestry, Eritreans are Ethiopians. I know a lot of those people may not want to hear this, but I don't give a fuck. Now, I was reading more about that, and the tattoo on Nipsey's face which says God will rise, so I just kept searching and searching. I'm like, this is so big. And then I found that in the Bible it talks about King David and King Solomon, and that the Messiah who comes back to the world, who is technically the Son of God, would be in the lineage of King David from the house of Solomon, which means the lineage of King David and King Solomon, because Solomon was the son of David. These were Ethiopians. So it says the Messiah will be of the lineage of King David and Solomon, which Nipsey is. Okay? Now, stay with me. Nipsey, here's a little bit of information that I just realized last night. A lot of times when there's a sacrifice of an important individual, whether it's to the black community, the African American community, or just musicians and entertainers. You know, they do a lot of these sacrifices, okay? Whether we like to accept it or not, whether we think it's conspiracy or not, it's not conspiracy, it's facts, people. Just dig. I read something that said that 28 days after one of these sacrifices, usually something happens in the world. It may be like a bombing, a plane goes down, you know, a lot of things that they can manipulate, okay? Shootings, you know, mass shootings, you know, all kinds of things have happened in the last, like, however many years where you're like, you know, and then they have actors, and it's a lot of weird shit that goes on. Now, it said that 28 days after an event like a passing of someone to this magnitude, something happens. So I'm looking at the calendar. Nipsey passed away on March 31st. 28 days from that date is April 28th, which is the Eritrean Ethiopian Easter. Do the higher-ups know these dates? Yes, they do. It's the Hebrew calendar. They know what's going on. So that's our Easter. Because we don't celebrate Easter the same as American Easter. Our Easter in Greek Orthodox is different. It's April 28th this year. Which Easter signifies the resurrection of Christ. It was after Christ passed away. 3 days later, he resurrected and showed himself to certain people, his apostles and different people. So there's this link of prophecy throughout all of this. Another piece. Eric Holder technically was someone that Nipsey knew and was a part of his set. If you guys remember in the Bible, Judas was one of Christ's apostles. Judas was paid to, I believe he told where Jesus was. Eric Holder, he received something in order to do this. Now, so that Eric Holder doesn't talk, eventually they have to kill him. I know this sounds crazy to maybe some people, but those who know how they do these things know that it's gonna happen. And mark my words, y'all, 28 days after Nipsey's death, which will be April 28th, the Ethiopian and Eritrean Easter, something will happen. Or we will be able to, Nipsey will show himself to some, or to many. I don't know. But that is what happened with the resurrection of Christ. Or maybe those naysayers who are now, right now, think of all the people who are like, why are people tripping out about this? Why are people posting him so much? Why do people care? There's a lot of people who are not acknowledging who he was. And so there came a point where Jesus resurrected, even though they closed his casket and everything, they tried to lock it up so that his constituents wouldn't come and open it and say that he had resurrected. But even through all that, he still did. And he showed everyone that he was the Son of God. And so I don't know what we're going to be shown, and we'll do an update video at that point. But I definitely want you guys to comment below and tell me your thoughts, because you may have even more tidbits of information. And when I relay this information, it's not only to create, you know, all of this manifesto around his death. It's not. Nipsey's significance only tells us more of who we are. So if you can find a correlation between who Nipsey is, then use that as inspiration for yourself to stay motivated and dedicated, just like how he has continuously told us to be. There's a lot of ties here, and in my opinion, Nipsey Hussle, Ermias Askeron, he is the Son of God. He's the Messiah, sent from heaven, sacrificed for us to awaken, a sacrifice for us to, I don't know, I'm still finding the truth too, but I wanted to share this with y'all. There's a lot of significance here. I mean, I'm only stating facts. The story matches the Jesus story. And I was listening to the Crenshaw album. I've been playing it a lot. And if you go back to that album, Nipsey talks about prophecy. He also talks about Judas, you know? And he says in one line that his lyrics will be scripture. So we have to understand the importance that music plays in spirituality. So our entertainers, those who accept their role, they can be prophetic, as he said he was. Dude, this shit is real. And I'm gonna unlock more of this, but I really think you guys need to dig. One last piece of this. A bigger piece to the puzzle also. The children of Israel, based on the Bible, the children of Israel who are like the blacks and Africans, they were cast onto slavery because I think it was like something like they didn't listen to God's, orders or whatever it was exactly. So they were cast into slavery. They were cast into slavery for 400 years, y'all. Okay? They were cast into slavery for 400 years. Now, slavery in America, it started in 1619. That was like, I've read that was when the first 20 slaves or whatever, 1619, y'all. Which would make 2019 the 400-year end of slavery for the children of Israel. Now, in the beginning, we were enslaved physically with chains. But as you see now, we are in a state of enslavement mentally. Right? Can y'all agree with me? Which is kind of what Kanye was saying. He was like, why are we still enslaved? Okay? Don't get derailed by Kanye. Let's keep it here, okay? So, if this year also marks the end of the fucking 400 years of slavery that the blacks and Africans have been under, and then in that year, we have the resurrection of Christ through Nipsey? Dude, man, this shit is real. Think about Nipsey. He was a humble fucking man. He respected his elders. Do you know how many times this man throughout his records has given respect to his elders in hip-hop alone? He's always respecting his elders. On top of that, he respected the ancestors. He was a part of the Dr. Sebi documentary. Nipsey is known for his healthy eating. He's very conscious and aware and woke. When we think of the importance of Nipsey, we have to think about the importance of his family. And how important his wife is. You can call her his girlfriend, his wife, whatever. She is his wife, his spiritual partner. This shows us the significance of her. And may she find peace. And let me add right now, she will continue his work. Because all of the great women in African history have continued their husbands' work after their husbands passed away. I'll take it back to Egypt with Queen Nefertiti. When her husband passed away, Queen Nefertiti took over that area of northeastern Africa. And she was a big implementer of monotheism. I may be saying that wrong, but it's the idea of one God. Also, when Haile Selassie passed away, Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, Empress Menen has opened hospitals and schools and different things. Let's think about Bob Marley and Rita Marley. Nelson Mandela and Winnie. The woman is just as significant as the man. So God bless his family. His team would really be the apostles. His team is very important, and they will carry on his work as well as his word. They will carry it on. Watch. Peace, y'all.